this even more of a difficult trip this year just because it's your first time going on the road in this environment?
Yes, I think it's more difficult because of that. Just going on the road, this environment, there's so many other factors. Like, we can't eat on the plane, and we're chartering, which is great. Um, but can't eat on a plane. I think it's just a lot of stressors for student athletes to travel, because you've seen it across the country and in the Pac-12. People that go on the road are just getting smacked in a lot of places. So definitely don't take this road trip lightly, and just a lot more adversity because of the situation.
And what do you see from Colorado this year? I know last year you guys really struggled to score against them, but Arie was out.
Yeah, Arie was out, but there was a lot of factors. Not to make excuses, but we had like the whole team on Tamiflu because of the flu. We had Kate in the hospital the night before, so it was but despite all that, we got our butts kicked. Could not score. They had 20 offensive rebounds. They just killed us. So we know it's very tough to play there. That's a really challenging road trip just with your full team. So we're ready. Hopefully, won't have any circumstances like last year. And we know it's not a road trip you could take lightly, because we see that they just beat Utah by 30 points the other day, and they're playing good basketball at times. So we know it's going to be a challenge.
Alec, go ahead.
Hey, Adia. You've had a lot of new pieces this season with Bendu and Shayna and Lauren. Have you felt like those pieces through the first couple weeks have meshed well? Do you think their performance is translating the way you expected to when you brought them here?
Yeah, so Bendu hasn't been healthy for a long time, hasn't played in a while. So didn't really know what to expect right away, but I've known her since she was like in 8th grade. So just know her as a player, know what she can bring. And just because I've known her, she hasn't even played her best basketball. She's just getting healthy. She's not even 100%. So she's just kind of working back into things, but she's a spark plug for us. She brings energy. She gets so many hustle plays. I know you guys have seen it. She'll sneak in for offensive rebound and get an and one. She'll make a tough play, cause a turnover. She'll get a great deflection. So she does all the things I really value. I think the chemistry between her and Arie and Sam has been great, and Trinity and Kate. So I think but we're just meshing. You will see us look very different in January and February than you do now, just because of game experience and just time to work together. But yeah, I think that she's meshing well, and I just expected what she's doing. I expect even more.
And then I know you tweeted this out last night, but Tara got her, had the all-time record for wins last night. Just what is seeing that accomplishment, especially from a Pac-12 coach, mean to you? And when you were building the vision for Arizona, how much did you envision that Arizona could become a Stanford?
Well, I hope. Tara is a legend, a trailblazer, someone who I truly respect for a lot of reasons. When I was a player, she was a coach, and they were really good back then. So that was a long time ago. And for her to sustain this success for so many years is just remarkable and very hard to do. But I think that the things I noticed, which I didn't know as a player, is just coaching against her. She's very difficult to coach against. Her team always plays well. They run a lot of difficult things. Like, she's just a great basketball mind, and so I respect her even more coaching against her. And the things that I really love about Tara is she's someone I can call at any time. So I called her last week. I can call her and ask her opinion about something, or ask for her input, and she'll always be honest. And it's not to benefit Stanford because we're competing. It's just for like the truth. And so I really, really love that about her. She supports women's basketball. She promotes women's basketball. And she does everything the right way. So I think she's phenomenal. I think she's one of the greatest of all time. I think she's done so much to change the game. And I hate coaching against her, and I hate playing against Stanford. Back in the day as a player, I loved playing Stanford. You know why? Because whenever we played at Stanford, we could all jump higher. Because I don't know if you guys know, this is probably aging myself, but years ago they had springs under their court. So you could literally sit on the court, and like if you had a cup of water on the court, it would like bounce and shake. So we would all go to Stanford when I was in college, and we'd be like touching the rim, because I couldn't touch the rim anywhere else, but I could touch the rim at Stanford because it was so bouncy. They don't have that anymore, but I remember that about Stanford. But she's a legend, and I'm so happy that it's her, because she does things the right way, and she's a good face of women's basketball.
Jay, go ahead.
Adia, with this being the first road trip, and some of the stuff that you mentioned a minute ago, how do you keep the players zeroed in on the fact that you've also got these games to play? You got all these things you got to do extra, but you've also got these games to play. Is that a tough thing? Do you think it's pretty manageable, and how will you do that?
It's manageable, but it's very tough. I just have tried to get input from like football and different sports. And on the road, it's not fun for the players right now. It's kind of, on the road there, because you can't do anything. So we're going to a hot spot like Colorado and Utah. The infection rates are very high, so it's a little bit scary. So you're limited in the hotel. You can't go in the lobby. You can't go out and take walks or go places. So it's just a lot more. You're just kind of more isolated. You stay in your pods. So if you had a roommate, you stay with that roommate in the hotel, because then we, decrease on the plane, you're still with that person. So I hope you really like your roommate, and you like your person, because you be with them for days in a hotel room, not doing much. But I think it's just challenging because of those things. Usually a road trip is fun. It's, you play games and it's tough, but you also, like, if we have a day in between, we go to a restaurant or we go see something, or I let them go to a mall or something, or we do a team activity. So we can't do that now. So it's harder, I think, psychologically and just mentally for the student athletes. But it's also the situation right now, and what are things we can control? We can't control that. So we talk a lot about just controlling the controllable and make the best of it. We're gonna maybe try to find a big conference room and watch a movie or play games or do something we can do, just to make it a little bit less stressful for the student athletes. But yeah, then on top of that, then we have a game. But the thing is, honestly, if you asked everybody, would you do that or would you not play? They would all say, we do that. So everybody wants to play. So just the fact that, I'm blessed that we're playing, because we could be like another conference and they could say, no, we're shutting everything down, but they're allowing us to play. So I'm just grateful for that.
Go ahead, Greg.
Adia, how do you possibly get enough sleep?
I probably don't. That's why I look so old right now.
Yeah.
I don't. I think I'm actually, it's funny. So the 12-week-old, she does sleep the best. I didn't anticipate. Like the first couple of months, I was like, oh gosh, but now she's sleeping like 6-7 hours. So I'm actually good, but I just find a way to make it work.
Did you ever have any apprehensions you could pull this off this year?
Like just being a mom or play, or what part of it?
Combining the two.
Yeah, I knew I could pull it off because I'm just used to dealing with stuff. I think for me, it was more of a blessing. If I had the opportunity to do that, I was more grateful. So I think I look at it more like, gosh, how many 43-year-olds have a baby? Not a lot. So I think for me, it was more like, I would love to be in a situation where I could have to do that. She's a beautiful baby. She's just a really good baby. I think the challenges are like more than the situation and balancing. It's more COVID, because no one can meet her. Normally all the players are over. I think that's been the hardest part about it, because normally I'd have players over all the time and they would be watching her here and there. But now the team hasn't even met the baby yet. They'll meet her tomorrow. So she's going on her first flight tomorrow, which is scary. I think not only as a coach, but like as a mom with an infant traveling during COVID, during a pandemic is very nerve-wracking. And that's my personal situation, so I deal with it. I'm not gonna leave the baby so young, but it's kind of scary. And we're going to a really red zone. So I think that's probably the most challenging part so far, because we didn't need to travel up until now.
Thank you.
Yeah, sure.
Ryan, go ahead.
So you started Bendu last game. I'm just curious if that's something that you want to continue doing, and why you like her in that role.
I think that I was just looking for a way for us to start off a little bit, just more energy. And I don't think it was only the Bendu change. I think it's just, she's a really high energy player. She's someone, but sometimes that's also a benefit of having her come off the bench, because you have that spark and you have like other starters, because basically we have 8 starters on our team. They can start at different programs. So for me, I'm not so bought into like who starts, who doesn't. I just was looking, we were starting so slow. So I wanted to make a change to see if that could address the problem. We started off better, but Shayna is such a great player. Shayna even coming in as another starter off the bench with Helena gives us another starting group. So there's a lot of benefits to that. And I think enables Shayna as a point guard, a two guard, to be able to look at the game, like assess what's going on and go, and then I can move Ari to the one or the two. So I think the plan was good. I think Shayna was really excited about it because it's a good situation for her too. But just had to make changes because I just didn't like the way we were starting. But I'm not so like fixed on who has to start. I think that the main thing is to win the game. It doesn't matter. If we play a team of 5 guards, I may start 5 guards one day. So I think that I don't want our team to get caught up in those things because those things are really not important. I think that they don't matter. And if they want to win, and that's the main objective for our team is to win, it shouldn't matter. What if I start 3 bigs one day? It shouldn't matter who we start if you're trying to accomplish a mission. That's to win.
At the same time, though, I mean, what was it like? I mean, you start her and then she hits that 3-pointer to open the game. I mean, as a coach, that's got to feel pretty good.
Yeah, Phil, but also, and yes, and that's what we talk a lot about because if you know Bendu years ago, she was never a shooter. She was always the best athlete. So when you're young as the best athlete, you don't really have to do much because you're just athletic and you kind of kill everybody with your athleticism. She has grown and evolved into that. So now that she's actually a good shooter. And I talked to her the other day about not passing up shots because she can shoot it. And by her shooting it, her drives will be more open. So we talked a lot about it. We're working on it every day. So you'll see her continue to improve and get confidence in it, but very big. She's hit some big threes and she always brings the other stuff. So that's just a plus. She dives on the floor. She, chest bumps Ari and Kate and Trinity. She's just one of those glue kids. So if I told her she starts tomorrow, she's happy. If I told her she comes off the bench, she's happy and grateful. So she kind of is like, whatever role I play, coach, like I just want to win. And that's what I love about her. And I saw her tweet after was like, she's finally having fun again. So winning's fun, for sure. But I love the fact that in this program, like she came here and she has her love of basketball back. And I think that makes me feel good because the experience of a student athlete is one of the most important things. You're supposed to love it. You're supposed to have fun. I mean, life is hard. Basketball should be a fun part and basketball should be something you love and it should be an outlet.
Kim, go ahead.
So you talked about you're taking a charter this week. Is that going to be throughout the season? Or are you guys playing that by year still, or how's that going?
Well, I mean, I don't know yet. So playing it by ear still. So if you can help us out with that, it's great. Go ahead and send a tweet out or something that we want charters for all the trips because we could use some help on that. Charters are a huge financial obligation for the program. In the school. So I just appreciate Dave so much of valuing our team and understanding what's going on and giving us the best chance to play. And I think someone who's been behind the scenes of that is Dr. Paul. Dr. Paul, he's actually a doctor when I was here at Arizona, so I've known him for many years, but he's the head of all of our COVID stuff. And he's, helped with that. And I don't know if we would be able to play this week without a charter because the numbers are so high and we've been lucky, knock on wood, to not have any situations. And I think that if we're not chartering right now in the situation right now and how many numbers there are, I don't think we would continue to play for a while. So I'm thankful. I know it costs a lot of money, so I don't take that for granted at all. It just gives us our best chance. And I could tell you guys from just traveling in Tucson, it is a world of difference chartering. So now I know like what the men get and it's just amazing. So it's a typical example if we weren't chartering in Utah is, let's say we played at noon, we'd finish the game at 2. A lot of times we wouldn't be able to leave till 6 or 8 at night. So, and then if on Sunday in Utah, everything's closed. So last year we were stuck for like 6 hours in a restaurant. So it's like that, it's just hard. I think other places are different because you can maybe go to a restaurant and take them to sightsee or something. But chartering, like right after the game, you just throw sweats on and get back on the plane. It's way different for the student athletes. And I know the way I feel after chartering. So other trips I'm wiped out. Sometimes it's like 9 hours. So I know that the student athletes, it just helps us be more successful because it saves their bodies.
And beyond the travel, what are you looking for in Colorado and Utah this weekend?
Very tough. So this is one of the worst trips as far as just, it's a difficult trip. It's freezing there, it's snowing, it's just the altitude. They run up and down the floor. I think they know everybody goes to that Utah, or Utah and Colorado. So they were really trying to run you. So you could tell they want to run. They're a very good transition team. They're very good at offensive rebounding. This year they're not doing it as much, but in the past they did a lot of 2-3s and traps and just different things like that. So really aggressive defense, just kind of hard-nosed blue-collar team. And then Utah, kind of the same thing. Utah runs a lot of offense, spreads the floor out because it has a lot of great shooters. So we have to bring our A game. Like, we can't go there and play average. We have to go and be ready to play and be ready to defend, and we have to be able to run with them. So excited, but it's a challenge, and I think that we're up for the challenge. But it's not an easy trip at all.
Anything else for Coach? All right, thank you.